Gani Waranang. Hello, this is East Kimberley Bulletin with Davina Toby Wright. Coming up in this edition, the build-up has arrived. Locals ask the state government for temporary relief with water charges. Almost 9 years of feeding our hungry, Kununurra Community Garden Kitchen launches a fundraising campaign to ensure the vital service continues into the future.
I'll bring you local sports and the best pictures from this year's Kununurra Barra Bash, which was the biggest ever.
But first, locals have started postal voting in our Shire election, which is due on Saturday the 18th of October. As we reported in our previous edition, a total of 8 people have nominated for 6 council positions, including 1 Indigenous local. All 8 candidates have been appearing on Waringarri Media Bracky's show with Scotty Day this week to answer the same 5 questions. As well as telling us about themselves, they talk about why they are standing for council, what skills and experience they bring, their view on how the Shire is travelling, and their vision for the future. All of the interviews were live streamed on the Waringarri Media Facebook page, and we've put together a short grab from each of the candidates on their grand vision for our region.
I guess one of the things is just the livability, just people living here. I mean, the Shire is here to make the town livable, and that's accommodation, roads, education, health, transport. It's everything.
Good question, Scotty. To improve things, I think we, like I said just a few seconds ago, it's about us coming together as a collective. We need to be setting aside our differences. We need to be looking at, well, what can we do as a collective to be moving forward and making a change for the better, for our people, for our community, for our country, and for our lifestyle.
Okay, well, look, I think we still need to keep the pressure on our federal and state governments to deliver on some of the outcomes that we've been advocating for the past 8 years. One of those is the completion of the Tanami Road. I'll be very, very pleased when that's completely bitumised, and that nearly fell out of the budget process just before the Fitzroy Bridge went down, actually.
I've worked amongst government a lot. I've done a lot of responses to ministers, and I've done a lot of things in the government arena, but I'm not a politician, so I'm not sort of standing up saying I'm going to change the world. I think there's a lot of learning for me to be done about how much the council is actually responsible for before I sort of go in guns blazing. So I'm going in eyes wide open. I want to learn, and I want to look at what we can do, not just what I believe in on my own.
So I'm not coming on with a quick fix, a specific fix. I want to see the East Kimberley thrive. I think there's so much potential, but there's also a lot of barriers and hurdles from our regional location, and so I wanted to be part of helping to overcome some of those hurdles. I want to create the livability, to create a place that people want to stay, build businesses.
Well, my vision is to make our communities in the Shire livable. Well, more livable, I suppose, is improving our footpaths, getting a greening plan in place. So we've already allocated some money in the budget for that, but getting that project off the ground and actually getting some trees planted and greening up our spaces and community.
I think for me it all comes back to livability. I want to see the East Kimberley become a region where families don't feel like they have to move away for healthcare or for schooling or for housing or career opportunities. Where we kind of create the place where we want to stay in and invest in and build our futures in.
My vision is more broad. I think it's just really about keeping the momentum going. I think there's a real buzz in town at the moment around where we're growing and where things are going, the cotton gin, other bits and pieces. So keeping that really positive momentum going. Seeing our small businesses be better supported so that they can grow.
The voices of the 8 candidates standing in our upcoming local government election, taking place on Saturday the 18th of October. You can watch any or all of these interviews in full on the Waringarri Media Facebook page. And to help you vote, you can find out more about the candidates and how the election works on the Shire's website, www.swac.wa.gov.au. Well, it sure is heating up out there, with the build-up truly with us. These next 3 months or so is when we all crank up our aircons and head to the water to stay cool. But with the Kununurra Pool and Splash Park currently closed, there are fewer options. Nathalia Imbalong has this report.
That's right, Davina. There are fewer options, especially for parents like myself, trying to keep the little ones cool during the tail end of these school holidays. With our local pool and splash park right there behind me, currently out of action for repairs, this leaves us with rivers and ski beach to keep cool. But not all of us have a boat, and local parents have been reporting their kids have been eaten alive lately by water lice. This is a seasonal thing, and some say from the abundance of water geese this time of the year. Others don't seem to mind though, and just looking to stay cool in our Kimberley heat. Now, a group of locals are calling on the state government to help with the temporary relief by making water charges cheaper over the coming months.
As a passionate community member, I'm really committed to seeing the town green, and given that we have a plentiful water source, I think the fact that it is cost prohibitive for people to access water freely and cost effectively just is nonsensical to me. So what I've flagged with the state government through Davina Deanna is the possibility of us doing something that is unique, and that would be to cap the pricing at a tier 1 level. I think what I'm asking, or what I'm suggesting, proposing, is something that is outside a blanket policy but makes reasonable sense for where we live.
Watercorp has a statewide formula for pricing water that's based on how much water we use. Waringarri Media has contacted our local member, Davina Deanna's office, who is in talks with Water Minister Don Punch on the issue. Many locals have taken to online to express that it's unfair locals pay so much for water when we have so much water in the East Kimberley. Davina Deanna's office sent us the following response.
I can confirm all residential customers across Western Australia pay the same rate as Perth metropolitan customers for their first 300,000 litres of scheme water each year, thanks to subsidies from the state government. In hotter regions like Kununurra, the subsidised amount is increased to 500,000 litres per year to reflect the higher water needs in those climates. The average household water use in Kununurra is around 415,000 litres annually, meaning most residents pay the same as those in Perth.
While we wait to hear if the Water Minister will make any further concessions for us beyond what's already the case, Soph Cook thinks it's a reasonable request.
Look, there is a possibility that it sets precedent and that follows suit, but no, I definitely don't think it's too hard. And I think the state government has already demonstrated that it has capacity to look at individual situations and modify as is applicable or reasonable. So definitely don't think it's too hard. Definitely think it will cause some conversation, but I think that's a good conversation to have. If it is reasonable, it is logical, and it is for community and environmental benefit, then it just makes sense.
In an additional response to us, Davina Deanna says,
I continue to engage with Minister Punch on a range of regional priorities, including infrastructure and community well-being in Kununurra. Discussions are ongoing, and I remain committed to advocating for practical solutions that support residents, particularly in managing the impacts of extreme heat.
Waringarri Media also contacted our local Shire just behind me, who can't do much at the moment about water charges. But CEO Vernon Lawrence has confirmed Council is considering providing locals with some relief, including access to the splash park in these coming hot months. It's closed at the moment as Council awaits spare parts to finish repairing it. The Shire is also looking at the staffing issues around supervision at the splash park to see if they can extend the opening hours once it opens again. So watch this space, everybody.
For almost 9 years, the Kununurra Community Garden Kitchen has opened its doors every Sunday, serving more than 35,000 nourishing meals to locals in need. The Community Garden Kitchen is run by Mandy Milburn and her partner Eli Stargus. It's a place of connection, compassion and care, where locals and visitors come together to share delicious food and community spirit. East Kimberley Bulletin brings you an inside look into this important community service, narrated by Mandy Milburn herself.
My name's Mandy. I'm the lead volunteer of the Kununurra Community Garden Kitchen, and I'm here to take you on a journey into a usual Sunday operations. This awning here has been the shelter for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of community members in the 9 years that we've been serving a free feed here in Kununurra. It's now 2:30. We serve our feed at 4, but that's not where it begins. Some of our volunteers are already in here sorting out loads of clothing donations that we've been given from our very, very generous friends in Perth, this time St Norbert's College in Perth. And here we've got one of our lovely volunteers, Lynette, and she's sorting out all the clothes for us into all different types of sizes and into men's and women's clothes. These clothing donations are a really important part of what we can redistribute at the Community Garden Kitchen. No, it's not food, but it is still an emergency relief item that a lot of our vulnerable community members are in desperate need of. Now we get to the heart of the operation, the kitchen, and there's some volunteers working hard in here now preparing this Sunday's feed. Fresh fruit is always a really important part of the feed. We like giving healthy, fresh food. Fruit is always a staple on the menu. Gourmet Camp Oven Kitchen, Josh Melville, he has decided that he wants to be more food wise and food smart and donate us all of his leftover pork belly and barramundi from his events, which has been a huge donation for us. So this is what exactly we're doing today, is that we've marinated our pork belly and we'll be merging this in with other beautiful herbs and spices and foods and creating a beautiful sticky rice. Mob are going to love it. Over here we have our chairperson and number 1 volunteer, Eli. Eli's been on cooking chicken. We're going to add this into our pork and rice dish. We normally cater for anywhere between 70 to 100 people every Sunday. So whilst we started small, learning how to turn one recipe for 4 people into 100, now we've invested in the right size pot and it's throw it all in and make it up as we go, and it always tends to be turning out delicious and nutritious. Obviously, we operate the community garden, so wherever possible, we're harvesting fresh foods like moringa, a highly nutrient-dense plant. We can fill these kinds of foods with those kinds of plants.
My name's Eli Stalgus. I'm the chairperson of the Kununurra Community Garden Kitchen and a regular volunteer as well. I met Mandy about 8 years ago. And I've been volunteering here ever since, and volunteering my time and stepping up to be on the committee as well. And I've learned so much about myself through this journey. It's been absolutely life-changing for me. As someone who has suffered in the past from drug addiction and mental health issues, being of service to my community just is transformative.
Emery will, car pots of waste on the floor. The triangles run, the shearers all dash from their stands.
That's Mandy Milburn and her wonderful group of helpers, giving us an inside look at the work of the Kununurra Community Garden Kitchen. You can see the longer version of that great story on the Waringarri Media YouTube page. And to ensure this vital community service continues, they are launching a fundraising campaign called 300 from 300. Please check it out and help out if you can. To find out all about it, visit the Kununurra Community Kitchen Facebook page. It's time for local sport with Eric Cox Junior.
Thanks, Davina. Well, it's starting to heat up here in the East Kimberley. And with the school holidays, there's been no local basketball out here at Kununurra Outdoor Courts this week. Round 3 of the East Kimberley Outdoor Basketball Competition was played last week with My Black Magic's Too Good for Fellow winning by 43-24. While the Bulls remain undefeated, edging out the Hornets by 29-27. There were no women's game last week or this week, so it's been a quiet few weeks in local sport Here in the East Kimberley, not only school holidays, but also the Sinju Carnival taking place all week over in Broomway, with many of our mob travelling over. But round 4 action of local basketball returns here next week and will bring you all the action. And I'm gonna leave you with all the pictures from the recent Barra Bash, which has been the biggest ever. A total of 1,650 people entered this year, compared to 1,435 last year. Congratulations to everyone involved and all the prize winners, including my cousin Gilly Cox, who caught the biggest barra, sitting at 1.24 meters.
Thanks, Eric. Well, that ends East Kimberley Bulletin with me, Davina Toby-Wright. We hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to share with your family and friends. If you have a story you think we should follow up, please email us at news@waringarrimedia.org.au. Thanks for joining us. Wishing you a great weekend.